Welcome to ToneBros. My name's Casey.
I'm Colin. We're going to get started here today with our current topic, which has to do with Catalinbread pedals.
Yeah, so Catalinbread pedals, Catalinbread?
It's somewhere around there.
Yeah, so they just come out with two new pedals. They come out with the sidearm, which is like a Tube Screamer inspired pedal. Mm-hmm. I think it's got like an extra mid control where you can like pick exactly where the frequency's going.
Oh, because there's not enough mids for Tube Screamers.
Yeah, right.
That's really cool.
And then they come out with a fuzz face pedal, the Star Crash, which I keep wanting to say. That's right. Yeah, Star Crash. I keep wanting to say Star Crunch.
Yeah.
Chocolatey Rice Krispie treat.
Heavenly.
Awful. It's probably made of plastic, but it tastes good.
It's great.
So yeah, fuzz face inspired pedal. And then they redesigned a bunch of their old pedals to look more like the same type of graphics. They're green. They've got like rainbow kind of weird funky colors on the front.
Trying to be psychedelic or something?
Trying to be psychedelic. A bunch of their promo stuff is a guy in like a really bad afro wig and a bad mustache with some big glasses. I don't know.
Is it a spoof?
No, it's not a spoof. They just kind of took some of the pedals that were like 70s kind of styled pedals and made them all, so they've got like a 70s line now.
Okay. We don't need to go in the Tube Screamer just because...
Yeah, it's a Tube Screamer.
Yeah, I'm not really interested.
Another fuzz face.
Well, what's the fuzz face? The FUD face.
The FUD face. Elmer FUD face. That would be a great name for a pedal, wouldn't it?
That would be good.
So it's another like just small tweak on a fuzz face. It's nothing that's like life changing. Actually, I don't remember exactly what the tweak is now.
Is it silicone or germanium or?
No, it's. I would have to look it up right now. To be honest with you, they all kind of blended together. Because I was trying to like look at all the pedals, and I got halfway through the pedals and realized, oh, only 2 of these are new pedals. All these other pedals have been around a while. So whenever I looked at them, I thought, these are going to be like this JHS Series 3 pedals. They're going to be like $99. Or they're going to be like the Wampler Triumph that's like $99, but they're not. They're like $180 to $199. So they're like standard prices.
Huh.
And I'm just kind of confused why they're remarketing some of their old pedals. Maybe it's their pedals that weren't selling real well.
Well, I don't know if like doing a psychedelic type of outlook is going to change that. Me
either. And
I like Catalinbread pedals. I'm not trying to knock them because
no, I'm not either.
Because they make awesome pedals, but I don't understand this, I guess.
Yeah, I don't understand what the deal is with the branding and changing some of the older pedals to look like this, and then having these 2 new pedals come in. I mean, I don't know. It seems weird to me. I don't understand what they're trying to go for. I guess it's good that they come out with another Tube Screamer kind of copy, kind of changing of a Tube Screamer. I'm not a Tube Screamer guy, so I've got zero interest in it personally.
Right.
And then I'm kind of over the fuzz face hunt right now. I'm just not in that mindset. And I don't know. I'm not real like excited about it.
I mean, I was about to say, the way you're describing it, you don't sound excited about it. No offense, but like when I hear Tube Screamer and fuzz face, I'm like, great. Here's another pedal company doing the same thing everyone else is doing. And again, trying not to knock Catalinbread because I know they make awesome pedals. But this is just to me, a raindrop in the bucket of pedals. Like, this is nothing that's going to change anything. Yeah. I don't think it's anything that's... I mean, they might be great.
They're probably awesome pedals.
But surely there is a Tube Screamer copy out there that does a similar thing.
Yeah, and and then whenever they're changing all the, like, graphics on these other pedals, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it's going to sell them any more of those pedals.
Do you think it's because they didn't sell and now they're just trying to spin it a different way to try to sell them?
Maybe they've got a bunch of the supply of these pedals and they're trying to like get them out the door, and they thought, well, all the people that love our pedals will buy these if we change the graphics up. And I don't know.
And again, I'm not trying to knock them.
Me either. I like a lot of their stuff. I was kind of confused by this move. And it just seems like a rebranding of pedals for the sake of rebranding these certain pedals.
Right.
So, I don't know. And they just come out with the new Mark II of the Naga Viper and stuff, that treble booster.
Okay, that's cool.
Here, that's been out for a little bit now, but they changed the graphics then. They've changed some graphics on a few things recently. So I kind of feel like they're in a weird spot. I kind of feel like they are because, like we said, we like their stuff, but I do feel like they've been a little stale for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious if this is going to be the start of them completely changing a lot of stuff up. If they're going to do like a whole rebranding of their lines and it's going to change things up. If that's the case, I'm very happy with what's going on. If that's not the case and they're just trying to get rid of some pedals or they're just trying something new, I'm not real impressed with what they're trying. And it's not making me excited to go check these new pedals out, even especially whenever they're releasing this whole line and only 2 of the pedals are new and the other pedals are pedals they've had before.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things where we'll just see where it goes, and it might be one of those things where their Tube Screamer is the best that there ever was, and it's going to sell for $600 one day. But
maybe I probably still won't want it because I don't like Tube Screamers.
Well, there you go.
But you might want it.
I don't know. I think I'm over the Tube Screamer hunt. I'll be honest with you.
Well, I wanted to bring up in our main topic today a question about guitars and signature guitars.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not any one signature guitar that I want to talk about. But I want to talk about signature guitars in general. So what is your feelings with signature guitars and buying them for yourself, or whenever, is it like an off-putting thing for a signature guitar? Because for some people, they see like a John Mayer Silver Sky and they get real excited, which Silver Sky almost like, pushes past John Mayer's signature.
I was about to say, it's not even like John Mayer's thing at this point.
No, it's just it's like a different model for PRS. But whenever John Mayer had the Fender, or whenever you look at all these different signatures that are out there, is it kind of a thing that pushes you away from them because it's already somebody else's signature? Or if it's the right person, does it push you towards them?
I think I felt differently about it before I got my Eric Johnson Strat.
Yeah, you have one.
So I have a signature guitar. It's an Eric Johnson Strat, which, I'm not 100% happy with. There are some things about it I wish I could change.
That's not because it's a signature, though.
Not because it's a signature. That's just in general with the guitar.
Yeah.
I will say, when I look at signatures, regardless, I'm still looking at feature set.
Yeah.
So if there is, let's say there's a Slash Les Paul, because there's 20 out there,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to look at the one that fits the bill for what I want the most. Like, regardless of any signature instrument. If you're looking at certain, like the Brent Mason Telecaster from Fender,
yeah,
I'm not going to buy that because it is way off from what I would want from a Telecaster.
Yeah.
That is just not something I'm interested in. So,
and that one's obviously Brent Mason's Telecaster.
Completely.
There's no way of looking at that guitar and being like, oh, that's a cool Tele. No, you look at it and you go, oh, that's a Brent Mason Tele.
Yeah, my Eric Johnson Strat, besides having the binding on the neck,
yeah,
you really wouldn't know.
Yeah, from a stage you couldn't tell.
Because it's got like a stamp on the back of the neck plate, and that's it. So, I mean, signature guitars, I'm not against them, but regardless, it has to fit the features that I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I've played a Derek Truck Signature SG.
Yep.
One of the best SGs I've ever played.
Right.
I wouldn't even think twice. I would say, yeah, I love that guitar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I think it totally depends on the person. And also, like, let's be honest, I'm probably not going to go out there and buy the Edge's Strat.
Okay.
Like, if the Edge makes a Strat,
why?
With Fender, because while I appreciate his music,
yep,
that's not like the tone I think of like for myself. Like,
if the feature set matched what you were looking for, though, would you go buy one or go at least check them out?
So I guess if it was like, so the Edge is like completely
it's different than what you're looking
genre
for
and everything. So let's say Mark Knopfler has a Strat.
Yep.
I'd be interested. I'd check out the signature, like whatever's all with it, and if it fits what I like, then I'm not against it.
Right.
But that's also, the Edge was a totally different genre of music.
Okay. So let's talk about the Stevie Strat for a second. We're kind of on the Strat kick right now.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan. So his signature Strat has got his letters great big on his pickguard.
Mm-hmm.
It is obviously a Stevie Ray Vaughan Strat whenever you see it.
Mm-hmm.
If you fell in love with that guitar and you bought that guitar, would you have a problem with that pickguard?
I would change the pickguard.
Yeah.
But it's not going to totally, like, change the structure of the guitar or anything. It's just going to change that pickguard. I would change that.
Yeah.
Like, that would bother me personally.
Yeah, for me, if that was my Strat that I fell in love with, that pickguard would be obnoxious.
Right.
I wouldn't mind a signature on a headstock. I wouldn't mind a signature on the back of the headstock.
As much
on
as I
plate.
love Stevie Ray Vaughan, because, you know, I cut my teeth on blues music when I was growing up, as much as I love that Strat, like, there would be a little part of me saying, I'm just another Stevie Ray Vaughan copy, so let me
feel like a poser.
Yeah, so let me change this pickguard, and then I'll feel like I can be myself.
Well, and with that Strat, you feel like you could change that pickguard, especially if you didn't change it to black. If you changed it to cream or something,
right,
it would just look like another
a
Strat.
normal Strat. Mm-hmm.
You know, unless you looked close. So, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think for me, signature guitars, there was a time period where it was really kind of off-putting because I didn't want somebody else, somebody else's signature on there. You know, if I wanted to buy a Strat, I wanted it to be a standard Strat or...
I think, so a lot of us fall in this ballpark of, like, especially when we're just starting out, we want our unique sound. It's kind of like, we didn't want to go to a Marshall. We didn't want to go to a Fender. We wanted to go to something different because we want to be totally unique.
Yes.
When you go to a signature guitar, you constantly feel like you're not unique.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of the go-to. But I will say, however you play, the tone in your hands, some people don't believe in that, but the tone in your hands, you know, truly is going to shape how you sound anyways. So, I mean, regardless, you have a Fender, a Marshall, you have a signature guitar, you're going to sound like you.
Yeah. So what's the signature guitar you've played, other than your Eric Johnson? Mm-hmm. Is there another guitar out there that you were like, boy, this is a really good guitar?
The Derek Trucks SG.
Okay.
That was a big one. I've played some Slash Les Pauls that are fantastic.
I have too. There's some really good Slash Les Pauls right now.
You know, and I think he's even got that, like, Slash Jessica Les Paul.
That new one
that I would be super interested in because it looks just like a burst, honestly. Like a, you know, kind of vintage burst.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that one. There's been a handful of... I think there's so many... I think Fender struggles with having so many signature, like, Strats and Tellys sometimes that I don't really... Like, the Bruno Mars has got one. And, like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's kind of Mary Kay-esque.
So, I think there are different types of signatures. So, you go to Gibson, it's, like, constantly Slash. It's constantly, like... I think Joe Perry has one. Gary Moore, Billy Gibbons. Like, it's rock heavy, right?
Yeah.
You know, you go to Fender and you see a lot of newer artists. Lincoln Brewster.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know until I checked out his signature. Her.
Yeah.
She has a Strat. Her. H-E-R. She played the Super Bowl. She was really good.
Oh, her.
Yeah, her.
Oh, I know her.
Yeah. So, and then they do have like a Jimmy Page Telly. The Dragon Telly.
Yeah, and the mirrored one.
Right. So I think that's a cool market. Now, I think Fender is expanding, like, you know, their newer artists. Corey Wong, stuff like that. They have signatures that maybe it's not traditional, so I'm not too interested in the signatures.
Right.
But I think they are reaching a new market. I really think Fender needs to reach to more classic markets, though, too.
I think Fender could do more classic, and I think Gibson could do a little bit more new.
Bingo.
As a new artist, I think like the newest ones that I can think of off the top of my head would be like Lizzie Hale.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that's getting like as new of an artist as I can think
Potter
of.
Had a
Grace
Flying
Potter.
V.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of new out there. Mm-hmm. I think that Gibson's doing some really cool stuff, but I do think maybe they've probably got like both feet in the vintage category right now.
Right. And when you look at PRS, I think they're killing the game.
PRS is finding a good sweet spot.
I think their signatures are fantastic. You know, you got the Silver Sky, of course, Santana.
Yep.
You got Zach Myers from Shinedown.
Yep. Mark Tremonti from the Great Creed.
Yeah, you've got Miles Kennedy.
Yep.
Which is a good shout on someone who's playing a new Telly-esque type of guitar.
Right.
I think
David Grissom.
I mean, talk about the assortment.
Yeah.
Like, they have a great new school and old school type of lineup. So, I think that's what Fender and Gibson need to work on, balancing all that.
You know who else has got a good artist lineup for signatures, in my opinion?
Who?
Music Man. I love the Music Man signatures. They just got that.
I haven't really looked into them.
Yeah, so you think about like, you think about the Luke guitar, right? Mm-hmm. You think about Steve Morris's guitar. You think about, I mean, there's a bunch of music, Albert Lee's guitar. They've got quite an array. They've had a lot of older players. Now they're older. At the time, they were very current. You know, they had Eddie back in the day.
Right.
They had a lot of cool players. And I think they've got like a blue Sarancino. And then now they just got the new Rebea model. You know, he just left Chapman and went there. So I think they've got a lot of really cool. I think if there was one signature guitar that I've ever played that really blew my socks off, it was one of the Steve Morse signatures. Okay. I played one of the Steve Morse signatures, the old school blue one with a black pick guard.
Oh yeah, that was.
And it has like 1 million pickups in it. Not 1 million. It's got 4 pickups.
But
in
a lot of variations.
Tons of variations.
Yeah.
And the neck had like that oil varnished neck.
Oh yeah.
And it was smooth. Like the perfect C. It blew me. I didn't expect to like it. I sat down to play and was like, oh, I guess I'll check it out. And holy smokes, what a great guitar.
Yeah.
So I think Music Man kills it too. I think they're doing a really good job with it. But yeah, they don't turn me off like they used to, away from them. But it has to be the right feature set. I think you're right.
You know what I will say also, when you think of acoustics?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lost signature.
Why aren't we doing that?
There's not a whole, like Gibson's doing an Orianthi acoustic.
All they do is change colors.
Gibson does.
They had a Slash J45.
They did it. Well, one I thought that was really cool was Tom Petty's Wildflowers SJ200.
I forgot about that.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
but like Martin, I feel like they could do a lot of signatures.
Yeah, I think they could do a lot of signatures. I think they could, you know how Gibson does the made to measures? And they would, well, they used to anyway. And then they would make them, no, not made to measure, I'm sorry. They still make made to measures, the collector's choice.
Oh, okay.
So they would make it look exactly like the person's guitar. They done the pearly that way. They done a bunch of bursts, and they done a few other things other than just bursts. But if Martin done something similar to that and took like the old Clarence White guitar and took some like, you know, Page's old HG28 and took some of these other guitars out there, they technically just made that like the guitar. It was a D28 and it looks relict. I forgot what the name of those are called.
Okay.
But it's basically a photo laid on the top of a guitar to make it look distressed. It's not really distressed like that. Okay. And it's the photo of Kurt Cobain's old Martin, which is kind of interesting. And then there's a smaller body one too, I think like a Triple Aught or something. They've done the same thing with someone else's guitar. But there's not that many signature Martins. Let's get Brian Sudden a signature Martin.
That would be awesome.
You know, let's get Billy Strings a signature Martin. Right. Molly Tuttle a signature Martin. Let's get some of these people, because right now they're having to go to different brands. A lot of them are anyway. You know, I think Molly Tuttle's playing that pre-war brand, which is unbelievable acoustic guitars. But I guarantee that Martin could come up with something that she loves just as much.
Right.
And they stick her name on it, and it would be a killer guitar.
And you know how many people would buy that?
I would be interested in a lot of those guitars.
Right.
A lot of those guitars I'd be interested in.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know much about Taylor's signatures, but I feel like Taylor has enough artists they could do pretty much whatever too.
Yeah, there's a lot. And then Gibson does have a few. Nathaniel Radcliffe has a signature. Shawn Mendes, you know. Ed Sheeran had a signature acoustic there for a little bit. But
I thought it was with Martin.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. That was with Martin. But there's not like a lot of them out there, and a lot of those signatures are kind of like, I don't want to say lower end, because they're not all like cheap or anything, but they're not exactly what you think of when you think of Gibson or Martin acoustics.
Yeah, acoustics, definitely. Whereas, like, you know, Gibson electrics, you can have whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So you have no problem with signatures, though?
Not a problem.
Yeah, me either. If it fits.
If it fits the bill for what I'm looking for.
Yeah, cool. You want to move on to gas or pass?
Sure. All right. So, here we go. Speaking of signature guitars, we had just talked about the Tom Petty Wildflowers SJ200. I've been looking at Gibson SJ200s for a long time now. I don't know if you realize that. No. I was about to say, they're as big as me.
Yeah.
And they're also close to $6,000.
Ouch.
Yeah. But that's brand new. That's not used.
You can find them used.
So I've really looked at SJ200s. I mean, talk about a guitar that has been on multiple records.
Yeah.
You know, all the way from like Elvis.
Everything, dude.
Wildflowers.
They've been on
Tom
everything.
Petty.
Yep.
I mean, they've been on countless records. And I mean, not even one of us has a jumbo guitar.
No. Nope.
I have a GS Mini, and I've got some dreadnoughts, and singer-songwriter.
I had no idea you were interested.
I think an SJ200 would be really cool, and a totally different sound that we have.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm not interested in it the same way that you are. I think it would be an amazing guitar, but it doesn't really kind of fit up with what I've got and what I'm looking to get as an acoustics. But would I love to have one laying around to pick up and strum on? Absolutely. So, yeah. And then if you got it, would you leave it completely acoustic or would you put a pickup in it? What would you do with it?
I would want to leave it completely acoustic.
Yeah, I think I would too. I
think putting electronics in it would almost take away from the whole allure of it.
Okay.
Just because, to me, it is SJ200 is bare bones. I say bare bones. It's super expensive and it's super nice.
Yeah, nice and ornate.
I wouldn't want to mess with it, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I'd want to keep it as is, keep it as original as possible. And, I'll just play with a mic. I really don't care.
So, yeah. What's an old SJ200 in the ball? They're probably real expensive,
I'm sure they're crazy expensive. Especially if you're talking vintage Gibson.
Yeah, I was just thinking, because if a new one's in the ballpark of $6, where could you get on one from, the 60s? And it's probably closer to, 8 or 10, isn't it? So, yeah. So, for me, it would be a pass, because I've just got other things in my mind. I've got D28s on the mind pretty hard right now.
Right.
And then I've also got smaller, maybe triple O's or something like that kind of on the mind. But I can see why it would be a gas.
I mean, you think of the different types of acoustics. You've got, your small body. You've got mid-size. You've got dreadnought. You've got resonators.
Yeah.
But we don't have a jumbo acoustic.
No.
Totally different sound.
I don't know anyone that owns a full, legit jumbo acoustic.
Right.
So
I think it would be awesome to have in the arsenal.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool. I can't wait till you buy one so I can play on it.
When I rob that bank.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm not robbing any bank.
Well,
I'm not.
Okay. So
you might, but I'm not.
Yeah, I can't wait till you buy it. That way I can check it out. But no, for me it's a pass and it's a gas for you, huh?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, you surprised me with that one. I never thought you were looking at those. So I'm going to move to my gas or pass. So I want to talk about a pedal made by the infamous Analogman.
Okay.
I want to talk about his delay, the ARDX20 delay pedal. So it's been through a couple of different iterations at this point. It went from that, kind of dome-shaped box to kind of that flatter box now. So it is $299 for the analog delay, and if you really want to control it well, you kind of need that Amazio control.
Amazio?
What was that thing called?
I don't know what it's called. That's why I'm asking.
I don't remember either. It's that other little box. I might have said that wrong, but it's another $150 to control the modulation and stuff.
Okay.
And it can do a few more things than that, obviously. But is that a gas or pass for you? Because we both love Analogman stuff.
Anything that he makes, Analogman, I'm there for it. But I'm trying to remember. So it is an analog delay.
Yep.
What's it? Do you know what it's based after?
I don't know exactly what he based it off of, and I'm not totally sure if he's got a specific thing he based it off of, or if he just found it an analog chip.
And I can't remember if it's supposed to be a cleaner delay. Yeah. If it's supposed to be...
Well, that's what that Amazio, if I'm saying Amazio right, that Amazio function, it's supposed to be able to bring in and out that modulation and kind of make it a little dirtier and stuff.
Okay. I'm interested in it for sure. How much are those things, do you know?
It's $299 for just the pedal, and then for the extra expression, controllers, another $150.
That's
so
right.
You're going to be $450 into this delay pedal.
Right, and it's only one delay, or you get two?
Oh, just one, I believe. You should be able to swap delay times and do all that stuff, but I don't believe it's two delays.
I mean, I think I'm interested for sure. I mean, if I'm looking into a Memory Man, I'm probably looking into this too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm super interested in it, but the practicality of price point, then you have this extra pedal going into it.
The size of those two together on your board too.
Right. That's too much.
Too much.
Too much for a normal gigging musician.
Yeah.
I mean, again, for a studio piece, that would be awesome. But I think I'm passing on this one.
Yeah.
It would be really cool to own. It would be awesome to have, but it's not practical enough for me.
Yeah, so I ask you this because I looked into it a little bit. When I realized you need this extra controller, you need all this stuff, and it's this big, and it does. Once I realized there, I was immediately like, nope, it's not for me.
I tell you what,
and I didn't look into it that much more. But I know that you're into that style stuff, and thought maybe for you it would be different.
If he would make it smaller, I think I would
put the controller in it.
Put the controller in it and somehow made it more compact.
Yeah, I'm okay with the size of it by itself because it's kind of like the size of like a flint, give or take. But I can't do that and the controller.
Right.
That's too much for me. So for me, it's definitely a pass. It's a pass for you too.
Yep, it's
which is weird for Analogman to get a pass.
I know, that is true because we like anything he does.
I think and I'm sure I would love the delay, but for me, for practicality purposes and everything, it's going to be a pass. But I do think just about any other pedal we pulled up from him would be a gas.
Yeah, completely.
Which is kind of funny, right? So you want to move into your main topic?
Sure thing. All right. So today I wanted to talk about really what are the benefits of having your guitar wired plugged straight in or into your pedal board still with a cable or going wireless, and your thoughts on that. Like, because I know a lot of gigging musicians like having wireless. I know a lot of people like having just plugged straight in with a cable. So what are your thoughts on that? What are the benefits, pros, cons?
Well, the pros of wireless is you don't have to fool with any wires, right? You're not going to be tripping on them. You don't have to worry about any of that. You can go anywhere you want to. You're not going to be doing the cable dance and trying to untangle things or getting it wrapped around somebody or pass a bass player while you're playing music and like get you tangled up with him. That's about the only pro I can come up with. So, I mean, really, that's about all I got. Everything else is cons for me. So, you got to worry about radio interference with some of these things. Yes, I know they've gotten much better.
A lot better.
And they've got things that mimic like what the capacitance of a cable would be. Line 6, whenever they come out with that wireless where you could switch like a 10-foot cable, 20-foot cable, and like you could change that length up, that was a pretty big game changer for guitar players because it was pretty inexpensive wireless and it sounded as close as you can get. And you didn't have like big dropouts or anything like the old wirelesses.
Right.
The wirelesses, it has a great big pack on the back. Shure makes some really good wirelesses. I was about to say,
Shure has one, and it has like a tuner on it and everything too.
I think that's cool. And I mean, I guess you are going to have a tuner spot on your board. Some of the old wirelesses, the problem was you'd have to have that big box.
Huge. And it would have huge antennas.
It had big antennas, and you had to find a way to put that into your pedal board. And if you ran a fuzz pedal,
nightmare.
You can't.
Nightmare.
If you're running like an old germanium style fuzz or treble booster, you can't run a wireless into it. It needs to be before the wireless technically. So I guess you could strap on a fuzz face on your back.
Yeah, be like Brian May.
Yeah, but only with a fuzz face.
Yeah.
What can you imagine a round fuzz face?
That would be cool.
Awesome. So that's a whole nother issue. But for me, I know cables go bad and you have problems with cables, but you still got to connect a cable from that wireless into your pedal board. You still got a possibility of having a problem. Unless you are playing a huge arena, unless you are Brad Paisley or you are Zach Wilde or somebody, I just don't think there's a need for it. I just honestly don't. I mean, even like Joe Bonamassa is using a cable, and I don't know. I think a lot of times the people that it's convenient to have a wireless, but I think most of the time those people can get by with a wire and not have to worry about it. And it's not a concern anymore. But what do you think?
So Brian May still uses a cable. He had I don't know if it was 100-foot, but it was really close to that at one point. And, he has treble booster and all that stuff. So honestly, the capacitance, it probably helped him out.
It might have.
But, and with those single coils on that guitar and everything. But I'm with you. I think wireless is cool, I would say, for a microphone.
Yeah.
If you are a singer and you're trying, let's say you got a bunch of instruments on stage with you and you're moving around, I think it's actually really cool for a mic.
I think for mics, it's a different story.
But with a guitar, it's still hard to beat a cable. Because a lot of times you're not going to be more than 25 feet away.
Yeah.
And you've got less guesswork involved. Is this the batteries? Is this the actual adapter that plugs in?
Is it some weird wireless signal that's causing a problem?
Is it some transmitter versus, well, I know it's from here to here. Let me just replace this.
Yeah. And if you've got a pedal board, you got a 10 to 20 feet cable from your amp to your pedal board. So you're at the front of the stage already.
Right.
And then you've got 20 feet from there to walk around.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, for a lead singer, I get it for a wireless mic.
Right.
For backup singers, I don't like it.
What does it matter? Why would a backup singer?
Well, not backup singers, but like a guitar player that's playing guitar and singing backup. Like if
I'm not saying you have to have a wired or wireless mic.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I see why singers just in general have wireless mics.
Yeah, I do too.
Like I don't fault anyone for having a wireless
I see
mic.
why Angus Young has a wireless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that wild man's all over the place, and it totally makes sense. But I think for the average musician, which is who we are and who we're, trying to talk to.
What the channel's about.
I think it's extra expense because it's going to be expensive. They're going to wear out. You're going to have problems with them.
You got the headache of the batteries or the charging. Like some just take a actual charge.
Yeah.
You plug it into a wall.
I think Boss makes a really cool one now. Mm-hmm. Where it's just like a little adapter thing you plug into the guitar.
Right.
And I think it's awesome.
Sure makes good stuff.
Yeah, but I just don't find a need for it. I think it's a problem. It's a problem waiting to happen. We're agreeing a lot on this episode, which is terrifying to me.
I know.
But I think it's not a good thing for most guitar players. I think if you can any way to keep a wire connected to your guitar, you're better off. Eddie used to run a 100-foot cable all the time. Whenever I saw him play, I guess it was like 2006, somewhere in there, something like that. He was playing, and he had this big long thing that was sticking out of the back of his guitar. And it stuck out like a foot and a half, something like that. And it had like a D-ring on it. And you could see, like, what in the world is that going on? He plugged his cable into his guitar, and it looped up over there, like way behind him, so that whenever he was running across the stage, he wouldn't step on his cable, or it wouldn't cause him any problems. It was like an extender, so it would keep his cable away from him. He was playing these massive arenas, and he had a giant, like 50-foot, 100-foot cable.
Right.
And he had this thing screwed into his guitar to keep it away from him.
I will say, like, back then, their wireless systems are not as good as they are now.
No, they definitely weren't as good. But, I mean, 2006, 2007, I mean, Angus has been playing with wireless since forever. And, yeah, there's problems with it.
That's part of his sound, though.
But, yeah, at this point, it's part of his sound for sure. And I don't know. I think if you can get by and find a way to make a cable work, you're probably better off.
For a average musician, or guitar player, it's hard to go wrong.
Use the shortest cable you can from your amp to your pedal board. If it's 10 foot, 15 foot, 20, 25 feet, 30 feet, whatever it is, use the shortest cable it can get from your pedal board to your amp. And then use whatever length you need to use for the other one. I think most people get by with 20 feet, 25 feet, maybe 30 at the most. Mm-hmm.
So anyways, what do you all think out there? Do you want a wire or do you want to be wireless? So that's a question you have to ask yourself. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will talk to you soon.
See you next time.